Okay, here we are, ready to go. Okay, well, thank you everyone for joining us. It's this afternoon, this fall afternoon or evening, wherever you are. Um, I'm really happy to welcome you here, and I'm really happy to welcome Mare Cromwell. She's the founder and executive director of the Great Mother Love Way. As an internationally known Great Mother mystic and high priestess, visionary healer, and award-winning author, she's committed to help birth the new earth. Some might call her a medicine woman. She has studied for 26 years with various Native American elders and other gifted mentors, yet her life of surrender to the Great Mother was activated in early June 2012 when Mother's energy and consciousness were brought into Mare's soul body in a significant ceremony with a native elder. And since that time, Mare has dedicated herself to the Great Mother and Mother's spiritual counsels. And um, I've I've known you, Mare, for a number of years now, right?
Yeah, a couple years.
And last year you came out to visit, and we were able to do some ceremony together. It was really wonderful. I'm so pleased that you're here, and that you're going to share with us this really wonderful new information that I think is transformative. So I'm just welcome.
Oh, well, you're really kind. Thank you. And I want to thank you for having me again and for hosting me last summer a year ago, 2024. Before I really get started, I first want to state that, and I always have to do this, that I'm humbly and gratefully located in the ancestral lands of the Catawba and Cherokee peoples here in Western North Carolina. The ancestors are still here, many of them on the spirit plane, and it's always really important to honor them. So I'll start off with that. And I want to also share that this talk tonight, and thank you for inviting me, is a lead up to an international event happening in just 2 days. And I'll talk a little bit more about it further on. But I want to thank the Foundation for Mind Being Research for being the main sponsor of the Thousand Goddesses Gathering, Water Love Day. So, huge gratitude and love to all of you who are in this organization. Um, so I want to make sure the message went out with the announcement to have a candle. Um, and if you don't have one, then I love it. She's got to be on hers. If you want to take like 30 seconds and go grab one. But the other thing is to have a glass of water. Not to drink, but to have it with you. This water is going to be activated with what we do tonight. Look at your beautiful glass. It's like a goblet.
I decided to get a fancy one.
No, that's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. So, if people want to take 30 seconds or so and grab a candle, and if you don't have a candle nearby, then you can just, light the flame in your heart even more. That always works. But it's nice to have a glass of water because it really will be activated by the end of the talk. Uh, so I don't know if I'll give people time to get it. I think I'll keep on going. For those who know me, I always do ceremony, online, offline. It's like my life is ceremony. And I start my day every morning with ceremony. And ceremony to me means calling on the spirit teams to bless and support whatever it is I'm doing or my day. And so I'm going to now open up the space for ceremony. And this is where we're about to light our candles. So hold on for a second with that. So what I'm gonna do is call in my spirit teams that support me, and they're actually I've been feeling them gather as we've been sitting here talking. Whoa, I am that I am, humbly calling on all the spirit teams behind the Great Mother Love Way, calling on Mother Gaia, calling on Mother's councils, calling on all the guardians I work with, calling on the angelic councils, other councils, calling on all the sacred seen and unseen ones here on earth who are yearning for humanity to really wake up and come back home to being in beautiful balance with them. Tree people, standing ones, nature spirits, water beings who we're going to talk about shortly. Calling on all the spirits and calling on all of our ancestors to support us, to hold us in sacred space for this for this talk, so that we may receive all that we're meant to receive, that we may be touched in the ways we're meant to be touched. Welcome, beautiful ones. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Love you, love you, love you. Oh. Okay, so now is a great time to light your candle. And those of you who are sensitive to energy may have felt an energy shift there because beautiful spirit teams came in. And they're just filled with so much love for us. I mean, it's the bottom line. It's about the love. All right. So we have officially opened ceremony. And if you're wondering at the end, I do close it at the end after everything's disconnected. It's really important to let the spirit teams know that you finished. So, so what I want to talk about tonight is some really phenomenal things that have been happening for me related to water. And before I really get into any of that detail and the story behind some of that detail, is I first want to really put it out there that we can do all the ceremony we want, which is important. We can love up the water as much as we want, which is important. And if we're going to really heal the waters of the world, we have to change our ways. We have to phase out the toxins. We have to remove the plastics. We have to evolve to a place where whatever it is we're doing within our culture is in balance and will naturally break down in the environment very quickly. And I have to put that out there because it just needs to be really stated. So the invitation to everybody who's listening to this and listening to the recording is to think about ways that you can start to really minimize the toxins in your life and the food that you eat. I could go on and on. I don't need to say anything more, but that just is really important to state up front. Okay, so what is water? I'm going to start out with some basics here. Water, as we learned in science class, is H2O. Um, and now there are scientists who are discovering, and have been for some years, some very profound aspects of water, that there's more than just three states of water. We were taught in science that it's liquid, vapor, and ice. And there's a really amazing professor at the University of Washington called Dr. Gerald Pollack, or Gerald, I think it's Gerald Pollack. And he's been doing a lot of research around the fourth phase of water. And if you've ever seen one of those water bugs that just skims across the surface of the water with its legs and doesn't sink in, the reason that insect can do that is because there's a film on top of the body of water that is the fourth phase of water. It has a different structure to it. And I believe it's H2O2, but don't quote me on that. I should have researched this more before we started. Um, but the research is also showing that in our cells, in our human body, and all the cells of all the mammals, it's structured water, which is what this fourth phase of water, another name for it is. And there are actually stones you can buy to put in your bathtub or in your drinking water container that manifest structured water because of the properties of those stones. Uh, there are some researchers who are even saying that there are seven phases of water. I don't know about all the seven. So I just want to put out that there's so much we don't know about waters, even from a scientific standpoint. Uh, and I think it's also really, really important to realize that while we are 70% water, give or take a few percentages as humans, the water that is here on Earth is the same water that has been here since the Earth was first formed. There are scientists who have been studying meteorites and the formations of those meteorites, and they're really believing now that it's not that water has come in over time through other meteorites, that the same water we have in our body and around us has been here since the beginning of the planet, which is pretty phenomenal to think about all the avatars, all the prophets who have walked the planet. Like, I'm sure you've probably heard this, that we've had cells of water, molecules of water in our body that pass through their body. And it continues to get recycled and recycled and recycled. So it doesn't mean we're getting more water. We need to take care of the water that we have because it's a limited, I don't like to use the word resource, but it's limited. Uh, Now, I'm sure everybody is aware of Masaru Emoto with his water crystallography. he opened the way for us to really wake up to some aspects of water that we weren't aware of before he started doing his research. And that water is energy. It captures energy and it reflects it back. And his work was largely about doing, we're going to get there. Thank you, Professor Jonathan. Uh, his work was taking water from a contaminated river and then taking water from a pristine spring and seeing what kind of water crystals would form. The contaminated river couldn't form a crystal. It was so impacted by the toxins in the water. Uh, One of the things that I think about a lot with Masaru Emoto is when he put the name Mother Teresa on a bottle of water, and it was a beautiful crystal that formed there. But then when he put Adolf Hitler's name on a bottle of water, it couldn't even create a crystal. The energetics of that name was so disturbing, shall we say, to the water. And then Veda Austin, thank you to whoever just mentioned her, who is based out of New Zealand, is continuing, in my mind, she's continuing the research into water and its consciousness that Masaru Emoto started. And she is working with water crystals and seeing how they are reflecting her dreams. She's working with telepathic children who are bringing forth really tremendous wisdom about the intelligence of water, really profound work. And Veda Austin says that water is liquid crystal. So my relationship with water has kind of gone, it's a bad pun, in a deep dive over the past year because Mother Gaia asked me back in 2015 to start, the first event was in 2016, was to start organizing these global grids of ceremonies. And they're the 1,000 goddesses gathering global grids. And it's based on the Tibetan prophecy that when 1,000 goddesses or Tibetan taros unite, it will shift the tone of our sacred earth from fear to compassion. And so we've been doing this every year. This is the 9th year we're doing it. Last year we did Global Tree Love Day, and I just want to read to you a quote from a really gifted light worker when she tuned into the trees that she works with, are highly, highly sentient, evolved beings that are these trees. She received the report after the Global Tree Love Day last year that Global Tree Love Day caused an uptick in the energy of the earth, a renewal of hope, and an excitement in the ethereal world as new quote unquote babies in those realms were formed. These are beings that will take part in a renewal of planetary etheric webs slash grids. So this is part of the work that I'm involved with, but please don't ask me to explain it really well. I just follow the instructions that Mother Gaia gives me to support the grid and the activations of the grid. Um, so last year we did that event, Global Tree Love Day, right at the beginning of November. And a week later, this is how it works for me, because I've surrendered to serve Mother. And I will also add that I can really only do this work publicly because a couple of Native American elders have confirmed my close rapport with Mother Gaia, which is incredibly humbling. So a week after Global Tree Love Day last year, I'm in the bathtub. I love taking baths. I do them almost every morning. It's a way for me to do my spiritual work, actually. I do a lot of water ceremony in the bathtub. Uh, I'm in the bathtub the second weekend in November. And Mother comes in because she's with me all the time, but she really made the announcement to me in that moment. She said she wanted me to organize a global grid of prayers focusing on here in Western North Carolina in the Appalachian Mountains, where the rivers had flooded a lot of toxins up from the bottom of the river and off the land and the hazardous waste sites along the river, so much to the point that people were getting sick, dogs were getting sick, and dogs were needing to be euthanized. And so it was really kind of a dire situation for a lot of people trying to clean up their homes. They're wearing hazmat suits. And Mother said, I want you to organize a prayer grid, call people all over the world, people on my email list who know I do this. And then I rallied people here in the region too to pray over the water, to do ceremony and pray, and to specifically reach out to the toxins who have their own consciousness and to ask the toxins to transmute into source energy and inert molecules. And this is what Masaru Emoto actually did with some of the work that he did with volunteers around toxic ponds in Japan. And the research showed that after they did these prayer circles around these ponds, the quality of the water improved. The toxins, the level of toxins had been reduced. And so Mother asked me to organize this last year. And I actually, in that moment when Mother gave me this message, I'm like, okay, all right, you want me to do that? And I thought, well, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to see if I can connect on the spirit plane with the overarching consciousness of the toxins. And I did. It was really humbling. And I received the message when I asked them, "Are you willing to transmute?" The answer I received was yes, they're willing, but they needed that boost of energy. They needed that love and the prayers focused on them to transmute. And they also knew that they're not in alignment with Mother Gaia and her spiritual blueprint. It's a very conscious, I mean, the consciousness is all around us. I'm sure you all realize that. So we did that basically 3 weeks after Mother gave me the assignment. It was the Friday after Thanksgiving. Uh, so when it came time to discern from Mother, what are we going to do this year with the Thousand Goddess Gathering? The message was love up the waters again, but make this a global event. And so that's what's happening in 2 days, this Saturday, the 25th. And I want to share that all of these global grids that Mother asked me to organize always include the nature spirits. And sometimes I receive a message through a gifted friend or directly from the nature spirits that they want to be included because they're a very integral part of beingness, of life here on this planet. Our plants couldn't grow anywhere across the planet if it weren't for the nature spirits and what they do with the energies of the sun and working with light. Um, and just as an example of one of the ways they've been involved, it's been actually recorded, is a couple of years ago, I organized a global grid that involved a lot of drumming. People were encouraged to drum, to raise the frequency through the prayers and the ceremonies and drum. And the trolls came forward to one of my gifted friends and said, "We want to be invited. Please tell everyone to invite us because we love to drum. We have our own drums." And so I put the message out through my newsletter and said, "Okay, everybody, I know this may be out there, but call in the trolls because they want to support. And when they drum, it's really serious." And so a woman contacted me a week later after that global grid and said, "I live in Australia, and in the circle that we had, there were a couple of men who were drumming, and one of them was a professional drummer. And he said that he could actually feel that he was losing control of his hands, and he was not the one drumming the drum anymore. And the drum was making a beat different to anything that he'd ever done before. And it was like, okay, the trolls came in to support him. Uh, and yes, trolls really do exist, in case you're wondering. They're not fairy tales. So, in this journey over the past few months of organizing the Thousand Goddesses Gathering Global Grid focused on water, something had been simmering for a number of months, and it has to do with a mermaid. And her name is Melusina. And I don't have an image of her here. It's at my altar. My altar's right behind me. But in this process of planning for this Water Love Day, I got a very clear message from Mother in the middle of August that we also needed to focus on, believe it or not, the corporate logo for the corporation named Starbucks. And that logo is a goddess. She is actually a real goddess on the spirit plane. Her name is Melusina. And Mother said, we need a global grid of activated goddess signs all over the planet. This goddess is the most visible goddess on the planet. There are 32,000 Starbucks stores, give or take a few, in 80 countries around the world, plus coffee bags in the grocery store, people's travel mugs. And so this logo has the potential and is already becoming activated to emanate the divine feminine. So I'm inviting every single one of you to, whenever you see a Starbucks logo, is to know that that's a goddess and send her love, because the more love she will receive from us, the more she will be activated and emanating the divine feminine. So Mother gave me 3 or 4 weeks to organize that event. That was September 21st. And it was really a launch day. And this is a long-term campaign. Because if there's one thing we really need on the planet these days, there are many things we really need, but it's a lot more compassion, a lot more kindness, and a lot more divine feminine energy, helping to heal the wounded masculine energies that are running amok. So Melusina is a mermaid, and this is where Mother starts to help me see how it all connects. Is in Water Love Day in 2 days, which is the energy's already been building. Those people have already been focusing on Melusina, the goddess in the Starbucks logo, are sending love not just to her, but to all the mermaids and all the mermen in our global waters and all the other water spirits that exist. And they're gearing up for this weekend to join with us in a co-creative way to love up our global waters. So this is just the way Mother has me work this, and it's all her idea, I assure you. So this winter at one point, I was doing a talk as a part of a webinar, or whatever, an panel discussion, and out of my mouth came, "Water is liquid love." And I'm like, I didn't say that. That came through me. And Mother was chuckling, in my response to her. And I've been working on a book, it's on the back burner right now, called Gaia's Web of Love. And water connects all of us. Water is oneness. We are all one with the water. And obviously, life couldn't exist on this sacred earth without water. And if we all lived with the understanding that water is liquid love, we would be living very differently and with how we use water and how we honor it. Um, and so, in this reality, and I'll call it reality that water is liquid love, I do a lot of water ceremony, and there's a creek at the bottom of our ridge here in Western North Carolina. And almost every day I go down there at the end of the afternoon. I'm tired. I've been on the computer. I just want to break. And it's a beautiful creek. And when the weather's warmer, I go wading in there with my Tiva sandals. And I'm always doing water ceremony, which means for me, calling in my spirit teams and from my heart, offering all this love to the water. And one afternoon when I was down there and I was really tired, I had been juggling a lot. I heard this message come again. I'm listening all the time, and the message was, "Let the water love you." So I'm sharing this with you because water does have consciousness, and I'm going to get into that a little bit more. Um, but it never occurred to me to just sort of sit back a little and receive the love that the water wanted to give me. It's like the trees love us, the nature spirits love us, the stone people even love us, although this is a really foreign concept for a lot of people. And we're meant to be in with this sacred reciprocal relationship with water and all these sacred ones. Um, so when I knew that I was going to do this, or we were going to do this global grid this Saturday, one of the things that came forward was to offer a webinar in advance of it. And I have an extraordinary Dutch friend who's a nature spirit mystic, and he and I have done a number of webinars about nature spirits and sacred gardening. I said, Corliss, will you do a webinar with me about the consciousness of water? Who is communicating from water when we have the capacity to hear? And so this is actually an invitation to any of you. We did the first session October 5th, but the second one's in November, November 9th. You're welcome to still register. Uh, Information's on my website. But when we made that commitment to do that and we had an initial meeting, I just had this really strong yearning to connect with the consciousness of water. Like if I can hear Mother Gaia and I can listen to Melusina, because Melusina, I don't want to call her the Starbucks mermaid, but the mermaid in that logo. I mean, she gave me a really long message when Mother first gave me that assignment too. I was just yearning to connect with the consciousness of water. And once again, I'm in the bathtub doing water ceremony. It's like 6:30 in the morning. And as I'm tuning in and I'm just putting this yearning out, all of a sudden I hear from the spirit plane's heart of water. And as I heard that, this energy came in to me and the bath water. It was so beautiful. And I'm going to call her in a moment. But before I do that, I'm inviting everyone now to pick up your glass of water, the one that you're not supposed to drink out of. You can later if you want. But the one for ceremony, because I'm going to call her in, and she's going to be activating this water by you holding it and you being in the presence of this invocation. Okay. Oh, I am that I am, calling on the heart of water to please bless every single one of us. Please bless the water that we are holding. Please bless all the cells in our body, our blood cells, which is mother's blood, our bones, our tissue, our muscles, our brain, even the cells in our brain. Please bless and bring in your beautiful high spiritual energy into all of our body. Bring us healing energy, beautiful heart of water. Mm. So what I would really love to do right now, and I know that we're in a webinar mode, not meeting mode here on Zoom, but if people can just put a thumbs up in the chat, I would love to get a sense of how many of you felt her energy come in. I'm not getting any response. Oh, there we go. Beautiful. Yeah, you can just say yes if you want. That's easy. Beautiful. We're getting hearts, so yes. Even if you didn't feel her frequency, and Richard says, I think so. Beautiful. Even if you didn't feel it, she still came in to you and your space. Oh, beautiful. Someone said I sent light entering the water. Let me tell you a little bit about what I've been able to discern about the heart of water. She sources from off planet. And prior to her coming in, and I say her because it feels like a really feminine energy to me. Uh, Prior to her coming in, I had been doing a lot of work at my altar with a spiritual being that I have given the name, I gave her the name Sophia. And a lot of people work with Sophia, but this is Sophia. And I asked her when she came in the first time, I said, who are you? Can you tell me who you are? And I heard her say, I'm the feminine face of God. And then I'm like, whoa, really? You know, and I needed to dowse on that and go, is this really accurate? And everything I received in dowsing and asking was yes. And so she is one of the divine feminine, and I'm hearing from her right now. She's part of a group of divine feminine ones from off planet who have who bless water. And water is found all over the universe. It's obviously not just here on Earth. I say obviously because to me it seems obvious, but I don't want to be, um, uh, obnoxious saying that. Uh, so I call on her all the time. If I see rain, I call on the heart of water, bless the rain. If I'm crossing a bridge, I call out to the waters there and call on the heart of water, bless those waters. This is something what am I saying? That Mother Gaia is really calling for in the raising of the frequencies of our waters around the planet. And she's so beautiful. And I encourage you to call on her all the time. If you're taking a shower, call on the heart of water. If you're brushing your teeth, I swear to God, even if you're flushing the toilet, call on the heart of water. Um, we need this right now. Everything is activating on the planet higher levels. I mean, everything, most things. And she is part of what's coming in right now to support the raising of the energies here on Earth. So she came in August. I don't remember the date right now. And then I still was yearning to connect with what I was calling the consciousness of water. And so a couple weeks after the Heart of Water came in, I was again in the bathtub doing water ceremony. And when I do water ceremony in the bathtub, I honestly pour sacred water in the bath before I get in the water. I call on my spirit teams. I add some essential oils. It really is ceremony to raise the frequency of the water and my spiritual experience at that time in the water. So a couple weeks after the Heart of Water came in, I'm tuning in again and I'm again yearning to connect with the intelligence of water, the consciousness of water. And this time it was different. I felt this council come in, and it was a different frequency than the Heart of Water. And I felt them surrounding me, and they were blessing the water and blessing me. And I was just sort of struck, whoa. And I had to come up with a name for them because it's easier for me to come up with names than to try to remember energetic or spiritual frequencies. So I call them the Universal Council of Water. And I'm going to call on these beings right now to bless every single one of us. So again, pick up your glass of water. Um, and here we go. I am that I am calling on the Universal Council of Water to please bless each one of us. Bless the water that we're holding. Bless our bodies. Bless our energy bodies. Bless ourselves. Shower us with your incredible, beautiful energy. Mm. Mm. So again, I would love to, it's like I don't even want to interrupt this experience. I have to be honest. Part of me wants to just let us all be in silence so that we can truly take this in. Um, but there's more I want to share. I'm supposed to share. But if you felt the the Council of Water, the Universal Council of Water, please put a yes or a water symbol or thumbs up in the chat, just so we can get a feel. Mm.
Mare, can I just say
Please.
when that I felt them even before you called them.
Mm.
I felt them um, already blessing, almost as you were forming the thoughts in your head, like
Yeah.
like um, the enthusiasm, the wanting to bless us, the wanting to be co-creative partners with us is just so present that I
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
feel it.
I love it. Do
Thank
you want to
you.
share what you felt?
I usually feel somatically it's tingling, almost almost like a waterfall, actually, sort of coming down, mostly on my right side, but it's very
Interesting.
it's um I'm going to say it's familiar.
Oh.
There's a familiarity to it, as if um we already know each other.
I love it. I love it. Maybe you do. We all source from all planet way back, so there is that truth. Well, I'm loving what people are responding, like happy face, prayers, water symbols. Yes, energy felt very different, both masculine and feminine. They are different energies. They're different consciousnesses. And I just want to share that when I call on the Universal Council of Water, it's what you part of what you were saying, Judy. It's I feel a wash of energy come down over my energy body, through my energy body. And they're really helpful for me to clear any static in my field, any confusion I'm feeling, any kind of lack of focus, because they wash me, and then I'm like super focused, like boom, that's what I need to do right now. Boom. And I want to share about when I connected with them, and this was actually the 28th of September when this happened, that they gave me a message. Yeah, we are mostly water. Um,
And Mare,
Yeah,
Florence raised her hands. I think she wanted to share about her experience. Could I allow her to speak?
sure, sure. Go ahead.
So go ahead, Florence. You can unmute yourself if you want.
Hmm.
I'll give you a second. Florence, do you want to unmute yourself?
Does she know how to do that?
She does. She does.
Okay.
I think what I will do, I'm going to read. Richard said his mind went quiet for nearly a minute with a calm, peaceful energy pervading during that time and still slight tingling from shoulders up. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So, Florence, I think what I'll do is I'll lower your hand, and want to, if you want to say something again, just raise it again, and we'll see if we can get you unmuted. Okay.
Great. And it looks like Harriet has put it looks like, I don't know, a genie or there's a little symbol in there. I don't know what it is.
My eyes aren't that good. Yeah, I don't know what that
It's
symbol
an
is.
aquatic nature spirit and mermaid. Anyway, so when I first tuned into the Universal Council of Water, I mean, I love that some of you guys, oh, Florence said, sorry, I didn't send a message. I'm just listening. I tuned in more to see if there was any message I could receive. And what I heard was, and first it was kind of a little bit of a scientific kind of thing where it's like there are countless planets with water throughout the universe, and each one is different. And I had already known prior to this experience with the Universal Council of Water about a planet called the White Water Planet that I call on whenever I do water ceremony that apparently reached full ascension long ago. Um, and that here on Earth, our planet is very unique, the biodiversity and complexities of life. But the message from this council, this Universal Council of Water, that I heard that day was treasure your water. What treasure its beauty and its mystery. Treasure the beauty you live within. Wake up to the beauty of all around you and all that you are. From that place, you will find only more beauty. And then when I met with my good friend Cornus Jan Kuperus, the Dutch nature spirit mystic, and I told him, and I called in the Universal Council of Water, he immediately could see them. And it was really interesting because he saw a circle of really high level spiritual beings. They're all white. And in the center of the circle was a ring of water with a crystal inside the ring. And and he said that they were creating with their minds. And I don't have the exact words to tell you exactly how I worded it, but they had created with their minds this phenomenon called water that was being active, that was the purest form you could ever imagine around this crystal. And one of the beings sort of turned to him and communicated that she was the spokesperson for the council and shared one of the things that she shared is that they're not the actual source of water. They are a consciousness, a council of consciousness that is very high up, that is critical to water, if we can put it that way. But there is a source of water beyond them that we weren't allowed to access spiritually. Um, and as she was communicating this to him, he started to see a being that looked like an angel, really broad wings. But instead of there being like um, feathery parts of these wings, it was like dripping crystal, he said. And he received the message that this angelic one, I'm saying angelic one, I don't know really know what you call it, that was so big, was a guardian for this source of water, like the very source of water in the omnicosmic realms. It's pretty humbling, what he was receiving. Uh, so, water definitely has a consciousness. And one of the other messages that I got from this council is that the water here on Earth has its own distinct energetic consciousness, which is distinctly different from any other planet within the universe because of Earth being who Earth is and what Earth is. The energies here are different than any other planet. Um, and then the next thing that Cornus and I have been going back and forth about, and a lot of people could say yes to this, is can a person receive messages from water? Um, and the answer is yes, if you are learning how to listen, if you can tune in deeply enough. And then the next question is that if you are hearing a communication from water, is to discern who it is who's speaking to you, because it could be the overarching nature spirit for that body of water. It could be the consciousness of water itself. It could be a deva that is connected to the water, but not necessarily for that one stream or lake or whatever. Or it could be the actual elemental of water. And he and I get into this more in the Water Speaks webinar. And he tuned in more to the elemental of water as we were having this meeting. And what he saw was this consciousness that the way he described it, it's like the record keeper for Earth. Water holds all the records for the entire planet, the history of everything that has happened here. It works closely with the whales, with the nature spirits in the water, the mermaids, the mermen, the sea elves, they all exist in the water. And there are all these cords of energy, conduits of information, wisdom stored in the water realms. And so just if you can think about that and try to visualize it, it's pretty amazing when we think about the oceans, and you can put on another lens and you'll start to understand that it's like this incredibly complicated web of energy within the oceans that the elemental of water is in charge of, and retaining all that information. Um, so what I want to do right now is, open this up for any questions. And before we part ways, we can talk a little bit more about what to do with the activated water in your glass here. But first, I want to open it up.
I love that. And while people are go ahead, if you have a question, go ahead and type it in the chat, and I'll check YouTube as well if the people listening on YouTube have questions. One of the things I wanted to ask you about, Mare, was, we talked a little bit before we started this about you talked about we're really in the process of birthing a new Earth, right? And I think a lot
Yes.
of people are becoming aware of that. I think we at FMBR are really clear that this is, it's part of our mission to help birth this new consciousness on the planet. And it just seems to me that so many people are feeling it, and they're feeling that quickening evolution of consciousness that I think is required for that to happen. So, what is your experience of that? And what do you have to say about birth? I mean, this enormous topic of birthing a new Earth.
Uh, the first thing I will say is, yes, there is a lot happening. There are so many spirit teams coming in from off planet, activating, clearing the ley lines. Dragons are coming in that haven't been on the planet for millions of years to support this birthing process, the clearing of the denser energies. And I think for almost all of us, it's kicking us in the butt. And I know that's kind of a graphic way to say it, but we have to heal our woundedness. We have to heal the density within ourselves in order to rise up with this new earth energetic. And a lot of people are being very challenged. I mean, I've been going through some really dark nights of the soul in the past few years. I had this major healing just in August or late July where it was painful, but all of a sudden it cleared all this really wounded stuff in me that was repressed emotions, and I won't get into all the details. But what happened was all of a sudden my capacity to hear and work on the spirit plane was at a whole other level. Because Mother wants us to rise with these energies big time. We're meant to be doing this, but we have to heal and we have to hold space for each other in the healing. And there are avatars coming in from all planets focused specifically on water. I have a good friend who lives off the West Coast, not off, she lives on the West Coast of Washington State, literally a walk to the beach in the southern part of Washington State. And she's extraordinary. And she got a spiritual message one day from this powerful being to walk to the beach. And so she left her door, walked out the door, and 10 minutes later was at the beach. And she saw this spiritual being, and the being started communicating with her and explained to her that she said she could call her Crystal, that my friend could call her Crystal. And Crystal is just come into the earth planes very recently to activate the waters of the Pacific. And she has a council that she works with that is not just from the Pleiades, but from other planetary groups. And this is what's happening all over the waters of the planet, not to mention um, the mountains. It's happening all over. Some avatars are coming in and focusing on, tree systems. And I mean, there's even an avatar that's come in, believe it or not. I was raised Catholic, and if you were raised Catholic, you might be aware of, I have one on wearing miraculous medals, and it's the
Mhm.
Virgin Mary. And this is kind of maybe throw people off, but I wear this because I'm devoted to the Great Mother, and the Virgin Mary is part of the Great Mother team. Um, and hold on, I'll spell that in a moment. So there's a sacred grotto in Maryland I used to go to when I was still living there, and there are the little tiny aluminum miraculous medals you could buy for all of like 99 cents. So I bought a packet of them because I give them away to people. And I was bought a whole packet of them, and then I was on my way to visit a very gifted mentor I was studying with at the time. And when I pulled that packet out of my purse, she goes, "Oh my God." She goes, "Let me see those." She said, "The energy in these are so high. It's higher than anything else that you have that you got there at the grotto." And gosh, she's coming in right now. I can feel her. She tuned in and she discerned that an avatar that I gave her the name Maria, needing a name for her, had come in very recently and was activating the cheapest miraculous metals that you can buy to help people connect with the Divine Mother and the higher energies of the Mother. So this is just an example of what's happening around the planet. So somebody asked the question, how do you spell Sophia? I spell it Sophia. So two I's and then A. Um, so I hope I'm answering your question, Judy.
Yes,
There's
I
so
mean,
much.
thank you. I think that's, one of the things that really comes through to me every time I, talk about this is just the number of co-creative partners we have, and that
Yeah,
they're coming in more. There are more that are kind of showing up that are
yeah,
really co-creators in this project of birthing a planet that's where the experience of humanity and nature is really heartbeat. It's that frequency of love
yeah,
expressed.
it is. It's huge. It's huge. Yeah, thank you. That's how I spell it. And I will also add that in addition to a lot of powerful, beautiful beings coming in, um, a couple thousand years ago, I don't know the exact timing, the nature spirits, many of them actually went into the earth's crust, into mother's bones to hide
Mm.
because we were going through a very, very dense time. And I'll put it right out there because of the influence of extraterrestrials who were serving Mother God as good, that group or groups. And they have been re-emerging. They've been coming out of the rock structures coming out from behind the crystal walls they had put up because they feel safer now to be here because the energies are getting higher. And here's another wild thing that my friend Corliss told me is that unicorns for thousands of years would not give birth to baby unicorns here on the earthly planes, and now they are. So for those of you tuned into nature spirits or seeking to tune in more to them, here's some interesting information for you.
I love that.
Um,
We have two questions here. One is, and this is from Elizabeth. She said there's a creek by her house that dries up in the summer. What happens to the water spirits
that's a
when
great
the water's
question.
when the water's gone?
You know what they do is they actually they go, it depends on how big of a water spirit they are. Some of them live very, very long lives. Some of them are really ephemeral. So the ephemeral ones, like every single drop of rain has an ephemeral nature spirit within it. And when that rain hits the ground, that nature spirit that's ephemeral just vaporizes into the oneness, vaporizes, dissipates. So that's what happens to some of them. What I'm hearing, and I'm asking again, I'm getting yes, they go into a dormancy. The nature spirits that are longer lived, um, uh, that's what I'm hearing. It's kind of like the worms go down deeper when it's really dry, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. Actually, the dormancy, no, I'm getting more information. The dormancy they go into is they move to a higher dimensional state and they wait then for the waters to come back, or they may choose to go to another water site. There's so much complexity with those universes. If people want to understand a lot about the nature spirits, there's this book called 40 Years with the Fairies that is phenomenal, written by a British woman who passed. Um, it's amazing. And you can actually get it new off the publisher's website, RJ Stewart.
What's it called?
It's called 40 Years with the Fairies. Daphne Charters is the author. Um, so somebody else was asking, is there a musical note or hertz frequency of love we can imprint the water to? Harriet, I don't have a specific answer to that other than your heart, as pure as it can be from the energy from your heart. Um, I mean, calling on the heart of water is going to brings in a really high frequency. Uh, someone sent me a little video, a little link on, I guess it was Instagram, of this woman who's got these crystalline, um, oh, she was sitting in the water and it was sitting like on the water, but it's a crystalline set of pipes and she was playing them. And the music went into the water. And apparently there are more videos I didn't see that's on her channel of her playing for the beluga whales. And the whales love her music because it raises the frequency. So my sense is that there's more than one musical note. But the purer the love, the better. And I'm sure someone else could probably answer that better than me, but that's what's coming forward right now to share. So someone asked, what are your thoughts on,
Three Eye
I
Atlas.
I don't know what that is. I'm really ignorant sometimes. What is Three Eye Atlas?
Oh, it is an object, an interstellar object that has entered our solar system. I believe it's a Perseid,
Oh,
and it's not a typical comet. There's a lot of speculation as to what it is and what it's bringing to the solar system.
you know what? That's interesting because I tuned into that and there's another comet coming in like right behind it, I think. And
There's another one. Yeah.
yeah, and they're like behind the sun, so we can't get a really close view of them.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I'm feeling that energy coming in. What I heard from Mother was that these are beneficial extraterrestrial beings who are here to bless us, to support the ascension. And I'm asking again, and I'm hearing yes. And so their energetics will be influencing everything, or they're already influencing everything on the planet.
Mm.
Um, and one of them was more feminine. The second one is more feminine. The three eye Atlas one is slightly more masculine energy. Uh, what are your thoughts? Okay, so you asked it again. Any other
And tell us,
specifics? Go ahead.
sorry. I was going to ask you what we can do with this water that's activated. But if you have more
Um,
thoughts on Three Eye
no,
Atlas.
I just wanted to answer Richard Raffles. Any other specific steps or techniques to bless the water, e.g., when swimming and shower in water, besides ask the heart of water? Um, Oh, there's so many things. I actually just did a water ceremony video. It's on my YouTube channels, which talks more about the specifics of water ceremony. But um, calling on Archangel Michael, asking him to love up the water is beautiful. Uh, Calling on the whitewater planet that I just mentioned, because they've reached full ascension, their vibration is very high, and they'll come in and they'll bless the water. Uh, Singing really beautiful flute music or not heavy metal, that's not so conducive for healing the water, but just from your heart, anything we can do from our heart, and love and gratitude and thanking the water is huge. I mean, this is what Masaru Emoto really showed with his research. So okay, so getting back to our glass of water, The first thing I invite everyone to do right now, speaking of love, is hold this water glass over your heart and send love and gratitude. And think about all the amazing liquids you've had all your life, and that you were even in embryo in water in your mother's womb. And if you were nursed by your mother was feeding you milk, water from her breast. And so just send that love and gratitude from your heart into the water. And then when we end this, the invitation is for you a couple of things, and it's really up to you, is you can keep this in a bottle. And whenever you feel like you want to honor water and love water, take the bottle, put it over your heart again, love it up. I use that expression all the time, love it up. And pour a little bit in the local creek, in the ocean. You can pour it in the ground even if there's no water nearby, because all the water is one, it will connect with any other waters within the groundwater. You're invited on Saturday, just 2 days from now, is take a little bit of this water and go outside and go to a body of water if you can, and just from your heart, send love and gratitude to the water and this activated water. Because what you have done just within this hour is started a sacred water collection. You may not have known you were going to do this. I actually have here, this is my bottle. I have a couple of bottles now. I have a sacred water collection that says love. You can't really see that so well. All these different languages, it says love. This water is from over 3,000 sites from around the world now. People have been sending me their collections. I keep on collecting it in different places. And people tell me who can sense energies like really high frequency. So you can start to collect more water. And the more you love it up, the more you pray over it. If you have an altar, that's the best place to have it. If you're actively using your altar. And anytime then we return some of it to a body of water, it's helping to raise the frequency of that water, along with our love and gratitude. So I hope that answers that question.
Yes. Do you want to say anything else about the ceremonies on Saturday? It's a global grid, right? There's nothing people do
Yeah,
this on
I'm
in the
not doing, yeah, boy, the questions keep on coming in. I love it. I'm willing to stay a few minutes longer, but I don't know about you, Judy. But so on Saturday at 1:11 p.m., whatever time zone you're in, the invitation is to go out and love up the water and then focus on how you are part of a global web of all these ceremonies around the water so that you're intentionally joining them. Thank you, Judy, for putting that in there. And there'll be people in New Zealand, there'll be people in Fiji or all over Europe, North America, and people are going to do water ceremony in all sorts of different ways. It's really open. There's a group in Ireland that's joining, and they have been helping to rediscover some of the sacred wells because they're all over Ireland. Some of them got covered up in people's backyards, and they are rediscovering them and cleaning them up and activating them. And so, another thing you can do if you're at a spring, if you know a spring in your neighborhood, go to the spring and do the ceremony there and love up the Naiad. That's the name of that type of nature spirit that is in charge of the springs. And these nature spirits, if you don't know really what they do, they're weaving love frequency and light frequency into everything they do to keep the vibration high. They are very challenged by all the contamination in our global waters. What is the name of the mer goddess? Melusine, Melusine. Can you type that in, Judy?
MEL.
Melusine, Melusina, or Melusine. Sometimes you pronounce it that's it, as in a French pronunciation. And by the way, if you go Google her name, you're going to get all these French stories of this mermaid that has a tail only one day a week on Saturday. And I asked Melusina, and she said it's all fiction. So I'm really sorry. That's not accurate. But if you go to my YouTube channel, there's a message from her that's a bit more accurate. She's a very powerful goddess, and she's actually getting loved up by Mother Gaia and the spirit teams behind the Great Mother Love Way. So she's becoming even more powerful. She's starting to really shine. It's beautiful. Uh, Somebody else had another question. What
Question
is the
about
impact
tap
of
water.
tap water?
Yeah.
Uh, well, tap water's been through a lot. So my suggestion is whenever you get any water out of your tap is to love it up, to
And I
hold
think
in your
that's so
hands.
powerful.
Yeah.
It's really powerful to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I will also add that I feel like I'm plugging this and some of my stuff too much, but there's a company that I've partnered with, that Great Mother Loveway's partnered with, called Blue Bottle Love. And there's something phenomenal that happens with cobalt blue bottles, glass bottles, and how it purifies the water. And so you could get one of those bottles and keep your water in it for drinking, making tea, whatever, or coffee. And that will help to change the frequency of, and purify it. And this actually came out of a Ho'oponopono book that was co-written by Dr. Hugh Len. Len Hugh, I always get it backwards. Who was like the father of Ho'oponopono. He learned it from Morna, the Hawaiian kahuna. Um, I don't know nayadawellbeing.com, but that looks interesting.
Check it out. And so
Uh,
I want to say your website is the thousandgoddesses.net, right?
yes,
Which I
yes.
put it's 1000 goddesses.net.
Yeah, yeah, you got that. And so the thousandgoddesses.net is a project under the Great Mother Loveway nonprofit,
Okay.
which Mother told me to create. Um, so I love it. Galactic gratitude. Yes. Heart of water, it's like
Yeah.
we're all galactic on some level. So I don't know what Nayada well-being is, but it looks like an interesting name for a
Yeah, we
URL.
can I would check it out.
Yeah. So if any, are we good now or?
I think we're good. I think we're good. I would just want to double check on YouTube to make sure people don't have any questions.
And
But
while you're doing that, oh yeah, Jenna,
yeah,
yeah,
go ahead.
please go bless the water. Go love up the Naiad at your spring, Jenna. Um, but I'm really serious. Every time it's raining or even clouds in the sky, I look up at them and I go, heart of water, because they receive it and it activates that water. It blesses all those water molecules.
And that's one
Mother will
of the things
really
we
want
can do
this.
to really actively to participate in birthing this new earth. And
Yes, yes. And the
and,
Universal
and I think it's
Council of Water.
reciprocal, like you said. I had the same experience doing water ceremony in the Grand Tetons over the summer, and I
Mm.
had that same message, like, you can receive too. You can receive from. I was always like, oh, I'm blessing, and I had the message, like, relax, relax, and receive
Yeah,
our blessing as well. So,
yeah, I love it. Yeah,
which is
that's beautiful that you
beautiful.
heard that. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to thank everyone for being here with us, Mare, especially you. Thank you for being here late on in your time zone. But everyone on Saturday together, go bless the waters at your in your time zone, in your way. Just bless the waters. And
Yeah, and I want to also add, if you don't mind, and if you are up to registering through that website, 1000goddesses.net, we will put you on the map then.
right,
And that way we
there's
can
this
really
great
see
map.
how comprehensive this is. Yeah.
Exactly. It's a great map. You can see where everybody is that's going to be doing ceremony. So you really feel like a part of just, it's kind of I don't know if it's a movement, but it's a collective,
It's a movement.
right? A co-creative collective. So
It's a birthing movement.
exactly, exactly. All right, amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, everyone, for
This has
joining
been
us.
great
And
fun.
yeah, we'll be blessing the waters with you on the weekend. So
Oh, yay.
um,
Oh, yay. Hugs and big
yeah.